Why don't you all stand? Everybody just stand for a second and stretch. Oh, come on. Shift that energy around a little bit. Turn around, give 2 or 3 high fives before you sit down. Say, how wonderful, how marvelous. Shake yourself. Tell them, I love you. Say, I love you. Thank you. Kimberly, thank you for your readings and your mentality, your brilliant contemplative spirit. Pastor Marlon's on vacation, and he always has a great time when he's on vacation. From the background, my background, preachers didn't get to take a month off. I'm begging for Unitarianism, just for that month off. 6 weeks, is it? David wants 6 weeks. I got you. We're glad to have you back, buddy. Wish you. Say to the person next to you, say, I'm happy to be sitting next to you. Say, you really look like a cool person. What are you, losing weight or something? What's going on with you? For the next few minutes, we're going to talk more about love. One of the most awkward and imposing experiences in the human journey is this spiritual pathogen, almost like a germ that we call love. And all of us are involved in it. All of us are embracing it. We think it's precious. We think it's powerful. It's pressured. It's painful. It's pathological. And we're all serial lovers. And we get hurt by love and astounded by love, bruised by love, and yet we can't get enough of it. We're all thirsty. We're almost love addicts. And in all the movies and all the stories, there's this love ethic in there. The whole Christian message is about love. And of course, when love is expressed in blood, it's scary, but we know what blood is and hurting is and hoping. And so we're all wrestling with it right now. Nobody can hurt you or hate you like somebody you love. Talk to me, somebody. Met a lady at the end of the last service. She was 88 years old. I think she said 88 or 91, something like that. And she said she's been all over the world and she's experienced so much. And she's been married and divorced 4 times. And I guess one for every quarter of her life. I wanted to ask her where all her husbands were. How many were dead? How many were mad? How many were in jail? Somebody said falling in love is giving somebody the opportunity to destroy you and trusting that they won't. It is a risky expenditure. This whole idea of God who loves, and most of us believe that, or we want to believe that, or we choose to believe that. Some choose to doubt it. But the whole Christian message, and really there's the idea of a God who can be angry enough to send you to hell and make you torture and suffer there, and that same God could redeem you and save you from himself or itself, can be confusing to a lot of people. So that's why love relationships can be very awkward. I want to talk also not only about the essence, that love is actually the essence of human. And when I say essence, I mean the permanent rather than accidental spirituality of love. Your essence is who you always are. You may emulate something in somebody else, but your essential being, the part of you that knows and senses and says and sees and believes something about itself, doesn't go away. We may mystify it and become breath, which is the scripture says God is love. It also says God is spirit. So if love and spirit are the same thing, they never go away. But love is also sensational. It's sensational, it's spiritual, it's social, and it's sexual. And we express love in all kinds of ways. The mystery, the magic, and the manifestation of love. The mist story. When I say mystery, I'm saying the mist story of love. For God so loved the cosmos, the cosmetic makeup of the planet, the cosmopolitan expression of humanity that he gave. Love is connected with giving. In the Christian doctrine, that's one of the most famous passages, John 3:16. All of you could quote it. I flew all the way from Oakland to Dallas, and then I drove back. I mean, there was a merger between U.S. Air and American. American was going into Chapter 11, and so U.S. Air bought it. And so this past weekend was their first weekend of trying to get along in their merger. Some of you have merged or are emerging. You're trying to get along in your merger. You've merged with somebody else's life. You've merged with a new job. You've merged with, sometimes families merge together, and there's different children from different parents. Well, they had a real struggle. I mean, the flight attendants were arguing. And I flew next to one all the way back from Phoenix. When I got from Oakland, they took me from Oakland to Phoenix to Dallas, then to Tulsa. I normally fly. I've been flying with American Airlines for 35 years, and I'm a executive platinum, and I've never been treated so rudely in my life. I just can't talk about it anymore. They weren't really that mean to me. I just decided I wasn't going to get angry because they were really complaining. We sat for 2 hours because a flight attendant was coming in on another flight. And so I missed my connection out of Phoenix, and I missed my connection in Dallas, and it was late, and I could have slept over, and they weren't even going to pay for it because it wasn't a weather issue. It was really human error, so we could have protested, but I was too tired to protest, and I would have had to take a standby flight and would have gotten here at 2-something today. So I rushed and got a car and drove all by myself. I haven't had much sleep, so I might cry the whole service. This was such a calm service. I was dozing back there a minute ago, and I had to remember I'm got to get up here and preach in a minute. I saw y'all dozing, acting like you was all into it. You were asleep, half of you. We like to be spiritual and meditative, but sometimes you're stretched out before the Lord, sleep. So my wife kept calling, and they were checking on me. Majesty was calling to make sure I stayed awake. I drove the whole way. 80 to 100 degrees, miles an hour the whole way. And I was asking the Lord to show me where the police officers were and whatever. Give me vision. But I thought about the tension between that company and how that's a multi-billion-dollar thing, but there was a lot of tension. The flight attendant who finally got on our plane, I know she loved her job. I asked her about it, but she was angry and upset, and they were comparing notes, just the staff. And we who were on the plane were flying and hungry and tired and weary to get home. And I didn't think, but another adrenaline kicked in when I knew I had to get home. And I got about 6 hours of sleep, actually, so I feel a lot better. But I thought about the tension, because I love to travel and I love people. And most of them say they love their jobs. Most of you love your jobs. But there's tension in the job. You love your family, but there's tension in the family. You love yourself, but there's tension, there's stress. There's a germ that is like some kind of bacterium that has infected you, and it's called love. Turn to somebody and say, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or you can say, I love you, and there's nothing I can do about it. So what is the mystery? A mystery, if you look it up, will be defined something like this. A mystery is something that is difficult or impossible to understand or explain. Does that sound like love? The condition or quality of being secret. We get our word sacred from secret. Mystical and strange. There's something mystical and secretive and sacred and strange and alien about love. We're intoxicated with it. We're fascinated with it. We're serial lovers. We're love addicts. And we don't know how to break the habit cold turkey. We just feel like some cold turkeys. It's like you're in this trap. You love God. You love yourself, supposedly. You love your neighbor. Jesus said, somebody asked him, what is the greatest commandment? He said, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, your spirit, and love your neighbor as yourself. To love God vertically, to love your neighbor horizontally. We call ourselves doing that. Most of us consider loving God, whatever God is, however God appears to you, whatever your experience of God is. You say you love God, and you believe that God loves you, and you say you love your neighbor. But I've been in situations where you're counseling divorced couples that once loved each other and shared homes and hearts and families together, or people that were not actually married but they were committed for several years together, like dating but sometimes living in the same house as if they were married, and they started sharing bank accounts, and they started sharing furniture and love stories and intimacies, and then one day that thing goes bad and that love twists into some kind of awkward serpent like a boa constrictor and chokes the life out of you, and you once loved that person or said you did, and then you fell out of love. Or you have a family member. Many of you have a family member that you actually really do love, but you can't stand them. That's why I always say to single people, don't just marry somebody you love, marry somebody you like, because there's a lot of people you love that you don't want to live with. Talk to me, somebody. Well, how do you handle that awkward, pensive obligation that we call love? It is a mystery. And so we're all mystic lovers. Tell somebody, say, you're sitting next to a mystic lover. A mystical lover. And a mystic is a person who seeks by contemplation and surrender or self-surrender to obtain unity or absorption into a deity. And love is deific, and love is God is love. So you're surrendering yourself, you're trying to connect to, observe, and absorb into this whole divine mind that is supposed to be love. And it's a little murky, powerfully interesting. It's intriguing. We're fascinated with it. And we all want it. And we all, I guess we need it. We don't think we can live without it. We all look for unconditional love, and yet you probably have never absolutely experienced that in your life. You remember it perhaps from another existence, when you were on Mars. It's like some pre-incarnate reality that our soul remembers. And when we've come into this dimension, we try to bring it with us. We think it belongs here. We feel like we're entitled to it, that you're supposed to love me. Deep in your heart, you know you are loved, and you know you are loved. When anybody in this realm makes you feel otherwise, your nostrils flare. You get puffed up. You say, hey, what, you don't love me? Of course you love me. How could you do that to me? I love you, fool. Friend. Love makes you do foolish things. Can I get a witness? It's a strange conundrum. It is a mystery. It is a profound magical experience. And magic is the power of apparently influencing the course of events. Magicians think they can influence how things happen through supernatural forces. Is love a force, or is love a farce? Or is love both force and farce? A farce is described or defined in some dictionaries as a cosmic dramatic work using buffoonery and horseplay, and typically including crude characterizations and ludicrously improbable situations. The force of love and the buffoonery of love, the foolishness of love, the circus and circle of love. And we're all intoxicated with it. We're dizzy about it. We love love, and we're not even sure what it is. But our souls still remember whatever it is, it's better than we've experienced so far in this realm. But in another dimension, it comes at us different. So you're a magical lover. Tell somebody, say, I'm a magical lover. You didn't say that one as loud. You don't. Those of you who stood for the loss of a loved one this year or this past week or the last month or so, I still feel my mom's here, and I still feel my dad left us in March. I still feel it. When I go to the house, I got to peek my face in his room and just say, hey, Pops, just out of respect. I know he's not there. I think I told you before, his room was pretty much the same as it was. I still feel his love. I feel like Daddy's doing something for me and with me that he couldn't have done here. That may be my imagination. That's my fantasy. I like to think that the old man is still with me. His physical being and body isn't, but his spirit is in my memory. All of you who love somebody. I know Imogene sitting here, Mother White, we call her Mother White. She just lost her baby sister. She practically raised her, or she felt very matriarchal toward her, and she has lost her sister who just left a few weeks ago. How many of you have lost somebody in the last year, or you had a loved one or a friend, somebody that kind of transitioned, and you think about them from time to time? That's a gift. It's a memory. What does that love mean? Even if that person hurt you or never fully understood you, or you never fully understood them, you still have this crazy affection, this attraction to them. Most of us don't even like ourselves, and yet we're attracted to ourselves. We even get dressed and stuff. We feed ourselves and stand in the mirror and halfway compliment ourselves or say, you don't look so good. That's a stupid shirt. Why are you wearing that green shirt? I'm talking about your green shirt because mine is good. There ain't nothing wrong with it. You look at yourself, you compliment yourself, or you pick at yourself. I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm getting a little, I need to lose some weight. I gotta get in shape. I shouldn't eat this cake. Chocolate. I shouldn't eat this cake. Peach cobbler. You're fighting something all the time, and you think it's love, but you're not sure. It's mysterious, but it's wonderful, it's powerful, and it's not going away. Love is an abstract idea. It's an abstract ideology. When I say abstract, I mean existing in thought, or as an idea but not having a physical or concrete existence. It's like a fantasy that we so believe in, we so pull for it, we so pull toward it, we are drawn to it, and it is not always tangible, but we believe in it. It's an illusion, but we believe in it. It's elusive, but we believe in it. We hope for it. We almost worship it. When we call God love, we worship God, we worship love. That's beautiful. But this abstract thing means that it's not based on a particular instance. It's theoretical. It's a set of principles on which the practice of an activity is based. A theory, like music theory or the theory of education, it's a theory. I always look at the word theory as theos, part of coming out of the idea of God. A theory. Theos is the Greek word for God. Theology is God logic. This whole thing is a huge, massive theory, and we're all profoundly interested in it, aren't we? We're intrigued by it. We're seduced by it. It's very seductive and it's powerful. And we feel lost without it. So the scripture says, God is love. For God so loved. Herein is love. Not that we love God, the scripture says, but that God loved us in Christian theology and sent his son as a propitiation or an atonement for our sin. Atonement, at one meant. Isn't it interesting that in the Jewish Bible, the Hebrew Bible, it says that everything God made was good. He created this and it was good. He created light and it was good. He created fruit and trees and it was good. The only time it says it's not good is for man or humankind to be alone. It is not good for you to be alone. And all of us are repulsed by loneliness or aloneness. It's a solid, I would love to hear more on what you went through for 10 years in your contemplative states of mind and just being alone. Loneliness and silence can be so noisy. Talk to me, somebody. Because you hear your thoughts. Being alone with another person. Sometimes we have, Gina has these exercises where people stand in her transformation seminars where people just look at each other. Just look at each other and not say a word, especially to a stranger. How long can you do that? It's crazy. It's like something so intimidating about looking at somebody in the eyes and just staring and wondering what they're thinking. Their eyes start piercing you and you start piercing them. And you start thinking, don't be looking at me like that. If somebody stares at you, isn't it kind of an awkward feeling? We all want to be noticed, but if somebody really notices us and starts staring at us and studying us, you want to go, what you looking at? When I was coming, we go, what you looking at? And they say, I'm trying to figure that out. What you looking at, man? Tell me and we'll both know. Those are fighting words. But we are attracted socially to one another. Sensually to one another, spiritually to one another, and sexually to one another. That's human. That's a part of the essence of human. Love is the chemistry of spirit. It's the chemical mixture of spirit. It's a solution. It's a solvent. And it's all a mixture, some of fear, some of anger, some of suspicion, some of desire, some of hurt, some of pathology. It's all in there, and it's all love, and we bathe in it. We drink it, we live it, we speak it, we breathe it. God is spirit, pneuma. Remember I told you that, pneuma, pneumatic, pneumonia. Pneumon is the Greek word for lung. It's breath. We live and breathe. In God we live and move and have or possess our essence, possess our being. We inhabit spirit, just like spirit inhabits us. We're not just human beings looking for spiritual experiences. We're spirit having an earthly encounter. And we like to walk and live in love. Love is sensual pain at times. I can love and I love deeply, and I love aboundingly, and I love abundantly. I mean, my love is painful. It's pathetic. Talk to me, somebody. Love is tangible. Love can put chill bumps on you and make your face turn red. Some of y'all turn red. The rest of us turn navy blue, but our face turns a little bit. We get a little shift there. You can feel the chills. It's just like this crazy. I'm looking at that little baby there. That's the cutest little thing in the world. I would love to just hold her and is it a girl or boy? Huh? He's the cutest little thing. I mean, now, I get some, if I could hold that baby right now, a baby will stop. There's something I get out of it. I would give him anything, love him, but I'm getting this wonderful, you're the cutest little thing. We act worse than they do. You can be in any kind of mood with a little teeny baby like that. You want to hold her. He's just smiling at me. He's getting more out of this sermon than you are. Look at his little face. Stand up and hold him up and to let the people see. Look at that little darling. Look at that. Oh, my God. That's what I'm talking about. And he's like, what the hell's going on? What are you holding me up for? But if I held the baby, I would get... there's a kind of reciprocity to it. There's a kind of arousal to it. I don't mean sexual arousal. There's an arousal when I can hug my mom and I love putting her face near mine. I love her she's getting a little older now, her little skin and little wrinkled hands and just a little soft. They ain't getting enough exercise, no muscle in there. It's just a little flab on the arm. I wouldn't want my mama coming in there all built and strong. You know, I like her like she is. She's a little slow with her walking, but that's mom. She wishes she was as stronger and stuff, but I like her just the way she is. Turn to somebody and say, I like you just the way you are. Say, you're wonderful. And I'm fascinated with you. I came in last night, and Madge is 18 years old. She's in our bed with Gene and I. I've been gone for 3 days, and there she is in the bed with my wife. But I reached over and kissed her. She just will come in any time in the middle of the night and just crawl in bed with us. She's as welcome as spring. I love my children. I love my wife. I love to touch them and smile to them. But I get something back with that. It's the essence of my soul. It's a little painful if there's somebody you say you love and you can't do for them what you want to. You feel that. Anybody ever been depressed just because you couldn't do something that you... Sometimes I remember one time I was in New York and Julian was a little teeny baby. We were running around in New York. We went to Central Park and we lived went to Times Square. And it was just right after Christmas. Our son was so small, and a young man rushed up to us one day and he was begging. There were panhandlers all over, and I gave him a few dollars. But when he left, I thought, I wish I'd have given him more. I should have given him gloves, because it was so cold. We had gloves and mufflers and all that stuff. Out of that giving, I felt guilt. I shouldn't have, but I felt that we spent the next 3 days looking for that same guy. I was either going to give him my gloves or go buy some. We actually took an extra pair just to give him. Now, he might not have worn them, because had he worn the gloves, his chances of getting money would have been lessened. Because I did that in Chicago. I took some nice gloves. I wish I had them gloves back, because he didn't have to wear them. They had fur in them, but in the moment I felt emotional, and I took my gloves off, and I gave him those really nice. He was standing, as our car drove off the freeway to a neighborhood, he was standing there panhandling, and I came back the same way I went. He ain't had the gloves on. That's the way my grandfather was. He ain't had the gloves on. And I thought, Boy, give me my gloves back. He would have preferred the money. And later he said, I talked to him, he said, if I had worn the gloves, nice gloves like you gave me, I wouldn't have gotten any money because they think we're out here begging anyway, just taking money. But I felt the pain and the pathos of not giving him enough. Then I got a little disappointed because I thought maybe I should have given him money instead of the glove. Love is confusing like that. Have you ever done something really kind and nobody seemed to understand it but you? Then you got confused about it. You gave it and you wanted to take. Now, don't reject that and don't resent it. That's part of the mechanics of love. That's the machinery of love. Don't be disappointed when you're disappointed. Don't be discouraged because you get discouraged. Don't be angry because you're angry. Let it go. Come on, get your hands out like this. Stretch, everybody. Once again, just let it go. Let it be. Love sometimes is a little raggedy. I call it sloppy agape. Agape is the love of God or familial love. Eros is erotic love. Phileo is another one. Friendly love. Philadelphia, brotherly love. Familial love. Sometimes it gets a little raggedy, it gets a little tattered, but it's still love. Sometimes it comes in sizes bigger than you can fit, or sometimes it's too tight. But it's the garment of the grace that's on your life. Put your arms around yourself like this and say, I love me some me. And I love me, I'm getting better at it every day. And I also like me. Some of the time. Come on, give yourself a little squeeze. Then pat yourself on the face and say, you sweet little puppy breath. You little snail breath. I love that baby face. Baby yourself a little bit. Don't go overboard, but let's decide we're going to love ourselves more and allow the different colors and cultures, cultivations and cults, if you will, of love be part of your life without apology. Then you're not so bound and you're not so awkward. You're not so uncomfortable. Do this one more time. Just take your little cheeks and like your aunt would leave bruises on you squeezing. You look just like your daddy. I remember you when you were just a little kid. You're 60 years old. How long are you going to remember that? But take a deep breath, everybody. Come on. And the people you say you love them without restriction, love them unconditionally, which means to forgive them, right? And to forgive yourself. And remember, forgiveness means giving up the right to be right. And it means giving up the right, not always the reason, to be hurt. It means giving up the right to be angry, not the reason all the time, but the right. Do you want to be right or you want to be reconciled? Sometimes when I'm having a discussion with my wife, I say, well, if I agree with you, then we both be wrong. See? Did y'all get that? She didn't agree with that statement. But do you want to be right or do you want to be reconciled? I want that unity. It's contemplative. It takes a pensive, mystical, magical, meditative mind and spirit to transcend your ego and your pride and allow love to be loosed and wild in your life. God bless you. God be you. Take us through.